believe it, you all got it before me again. Topic 7, laws relating to employment in the workplace. Topic 7 of 16 topics for this piece of Unit 1 OCR. For those people that prefer reading books, this is the core text, OCR Business Studies, Unit 1. Don't forget the exams next Wednesday, guys, so we're under a bit of pressure now. We're going to cover today the discrimination laws that impact on a business. And basically, all you need to know is that the discrimination laws are broken into the Equal Pay Act. You don't have to worry about the dates, but the Equal Pay Act was introduced back in the 70s to make sure that women get paid the same as men for doing the same thing. For those people who want to know a bit more about that, watch the movie Dagenham Ford or the Dagenham Ladies. So that's the first equal discrimination law. The second one is Race Relations Act. Again, look, 1976, a long time ago. And that was introduced to stop people of one race or colour, nationality or ethnic origin being treated differently from anybody else. Direct discrimination is when one worker gets better treatment to another. So if Alfie just come to the country from Afghanistan and I was already here and we're doing the same job, you can't pay Alfie less than me because that's illegal. So there's the example to go with it. So you can't also promote one worker when another person's got better qualifications. So if Alfie came from Afghanistan with better qualifications than me, we both applied for the job, you can't give me the job if Alfie's got the better skills and qualifications, and that links back to job descriptions and person specifications. The third discrimination act is the Sex Discrimination Act. Look, back in the 70s again, before you were born, and that was introduced to stop male and female workers being treated differently. Why should you treat men different to women if they're doing the same job? So you can't advertise for a man or woman unless the job was gender sensitive. And when I say gender sensitive, I'm talking about male teachers using female changing rooms. You obviously can't have male teachers, so the PE departments always have male and female teachers because it is gender sensitive. So that's the next one. Disability discrimination. Look, 1995, so it's even closer than the last lot. In 1995, that law was introduced to stop disabled people being discriminated against. So it gives them an equal opportunity to everybody else. And if you look on YouTube, lots of video clips, Google, and different Amazon, different offices, where the employer changes the workplace to cope with the disabilities of the workers. And those are incredible videos of how capable those people are in that environment that's been tailored for them. Next slide, please. This is not discrimination legislation. Health and safety at work, again, 1974, makes it, in a nutshell, everybody's responsibility to make sure the workplace is safe. So customers have to report hazards. Workers have to deal with hazards. Bosses have to make sure that the place is safe. And it's not any particular one person's responsibility. We all have a shared responsibility in the Health and Safety at Work Act. Employers have to protect workers. Workers have to protect each other. And visitors or guests have to behave safely on site. So even in this school, you have a responsibility to report something that's not safe. If that electric wire from that plug socket was hanging out and sparking, and you saw it, you'd have to report it. If I saw it, I'd have to report it. And if the school hasn't reported, they have to do something about it. If people come on site to the school to provide services or to provide talks, they have to behave safely. And if they don't behave safely, they're breaking the law. It also required employers to introduce protective personal equipment. So if you're doing hazardous work, you had to have goggles, masks, gloves, aprons that protected you from hazardous work. So all the caterers in Caterlink who are doing oven cleaning will have protective gear for caustic chemicals. IT and computer workers also need to have their workstations assessed. They need proper chairs under this legislation. They need footrests if they're working on computers all day. They need armrests so their hands are not aching. They need low glare screens so they're not getting headache and their eyes aren't getting worn out. And they're also provided, if you're working on a computer all day, the employer has to provide you with an annual free eye test. And any business under this legislation that has 5 workers or more needs a health and safety manual so that they can use that manual to train their staff on how to stay safe. And that is a legislation that could be a 2-mark question. There's also legislation that came about quite recently, which is called the Minimum Wage Act. That's now actually being replaced by the National Living Wage, and that relates to anybody over the age of 18, and now anybody over the age of 25. So the minimum wage recently has been changed, that's like it's updating with the living wage, and some companies, especially Whitbread companies, are actually paying all workers the living wage, which is nearly £7.50. And that living wage is more to do with getting people more money in their pockets so they can claim less benefits and have more fun. So some employers, the best employers, it's not illegal to pay everybody the minimum wage. You're more than welcome to pay everybody the minimum wage or more. But some employers just pay people over 25 the full of on a living wage. If you're under 25, I don't think that applies to you. But why not pay everybody? If I employed all of you in my coffee shop and I paid you the living wage, are you going to work harder or less hard for me?
Less hard.
Well, I thought you'd work harder if I was paying you more money. But there you go. Anyway, next slide please. The Employment Rights Act, 1996, again not that long ago, and that's all to do with businesses that employ people. If you employ people, employers have a right, employees have a right, and that right includes getting a contract of employment, or if you don't get a contract of employment, statement of particulars, both key terms in the exam specification, within 8 weeks of starting work. So even if you have a part-time job, you should have a contract of employment within 8 weeks stating what your job title is, the hours that you work, the details of the job, the pay that you're going to get, how often and when you get paid, and any deductions that are going to be taken from your pay, such as national insurance, tax, and any student loan that you might have to repay, if you're old enough to have those deductions. It should also say what notice period you have to give, and any details of any disciplinary action, or how the company will deal with you if you do anything wrong. So that legislation makes it legal since '96 that you have that contract with all that information in. If you give somebody no contract, they can take you to a tribunal and the company will lose, and you will be compensated because they didn't give you a contract. So if you're working part-time and you've been there 8 weeks and you haven't got a contract, you might just want to remind your employer that they're breaking the law. Next slide, please. So this is quite a short topic, but if you're going to go for the 9-mark questions, and there is a 9-mark question on evaluation, then all I would say is, in a nutshell, employment law is designed to protect everybody. And when I say everybody, it's designed to protect the employees and the employers. Without legislation, employers can behave dodgy. And we don't want dodgy employers, so the law and the government put legislation in to protect employees. But apart from protecting all those people, it stops workers or employees being sacked for no real reason, other than the fact that the business can't afford to pay them anymore. So you can't just say to you now anymore, you're fired, like Alan Sugar does every night he comes on the television, because you have to have a reason to get rid of somebody. And you can't just get rid of them because you can't afford to pay them. If the business is struggling to pay people, they can make you redundant, which means they take the job out of the company. But once they've taken the job out of the company, those people lose their job because that job doesn't exist anymore. So that's the only way you can get rid of people. But you need to know that legislation, whether it's discriminatory or not legislation, is designed to protect anybody. And I do believe that's the end of that slide, unless there's another one. Oh no, employment tribunals. I forgot about those. If you have a problem in the workplace, and you have a problem with your employer, you can actually deal with them direct first, and if they don't want to listen, you can take your complaint to an industrial tribunal. And those employment tribunals will actually listen to your case. It's a law court just for dealing with employment issues. They'll listen to your case, and then once they've listened to the case, they'll give evidence for both sides of the case. Once they've listened to your case and the employer's case, they'll bring it together and the tribunal will then make a decision. If the employee is found to be at fault, the firm can be made to pay compensation. So if I got rid of somebody because I didn't want them anymore, and they went to a tribunal and you said, it's not fair, you can't just get rid of me, it's got no reason, what does it say in my contract? And you said to the tribunal, I don't have a contract, then that's a good enough reason to prosecute the firm and to give you your job back, if you want it back. If you don't want the job back, they'll have to compensate you in another way. So, employment tribunals are great, because the other thing about employment tribunals is they will advise for free companies that employ people, as well as workers that are employed by those companies. So it makes sense that if you've got a problem, before you take it any further, you ring up an employment tribunal or ACAS and get some free advice so you know what to do. More importantly, if you're employing people as a business, you might as well ring up ACAS or the employment tribunals to get some free advice before you make a decision so you don't shoot yourself in the foot. I think there is another slide, Kiva. The last slide is, if you're enjoying going through these video podcasts, you might want to go on this website there, those of you that know what it is, because there are a load of past papers on there, and you might want to test yourself on some 9-mark questions. And I think that definitely is it, isn't it? Thank you for watching.